I didn't commit a crime. I didn't shoot anybody. I'll never shoot anyone who's innocent. Someone who's evil and come in and try to take away my rights, whether it's to forcefully inject me with a vaccine, whether it's to take away me or any of my family members, you're going to face resistance and real resistance.
Well, judging by the view counts on previous videos, you guys just can't get enough of a fellow who nicknames himself as the Green Gun Guy. He's the fellow who shows up at those Queen's Park protests every Saturday, and his message is about government getting its hands off the guns that belong to legal gun owners. As you know, by an order in council, no less, Justin Trudeau declared about 1,500 of those guns as being illegal. They will be illegal within the space of 2 years. And he's not happy about it. And we met up again with Green Gun Guy, and we decided to ask him how he responds to some of his online criticism in terms of his point of view on guns. Here, check it out. Oh, hey, how are you? Well, folks, once again at the Queen's Park protests, I am meeting, he calls himself Green Guy, and of course he is someone who is very upset with the fact that some 1,500 guns are going to be illegal in the space of 2 years. And sir, I mean, the videos that we've played on Rebel News getting a huge reaction. The last one, I'm just looking at the stats, almost 140,000 views. Could I read out some of the negative comments and get your rebuttal to them?
Absolutely, I was going to bring that up.
Okay, Michael Lindop says, "Show your face, coward. Virus is killing thousands. Stay at home, fools." What do you have to say about that?
Well, first of all, there have been thousands of deaths reported, though. First of all, I believe they're inflated by, it's obvious they are. Secondly, the age or the number of people who died under age 60 is like a few hundred, right? Nationwide, first of all. Secondly, I would say, this is my third week in a row here, many people's fourth weeks. None of us has gotten COVID, I was just talking to a gentleman who was just behind me. He disappeared. He just told me he got doxxed. He lost his job, or it was a volunteer position packaging food or something along those lines. And because people took clips of him, put it out of context and all that stuff. And that's it. And I'm also entitled to privacy. So that's my number one reason. You don't need to know who I am. So there you go.
Now, another comment. I don't know if this is merely a comment or a criticism, but it's from J.J. Braddock, and it says, "Canadians will roll over like the New Zealanders did, all talk." What do you have to say about that, Green Guy?
Well, I mean, honestly, until action is rolled out, it is all talk. But just know personally, me, Green Guy, I'm not going to roll over, these are my guns. I intend to use them if people come for them. If they try to enforce any vaccine or enforce quarantine, those are lines that if they are crossed, I will use them to defend myself, to defend, any of my family.
In terms of the Canadian gun community, what would you say is going to be the percentage that is going to comply with the new gun normal, turn in their guns and get something else? Or do you see the majority are not going to cooperate?
Well, in my circle of friends that I know, we're not just hunters. We like target shoot. We like the tactical stuff. I got this armor vest here. Nothing on it, of course, but I know those guys, they have the mentality. They realize what's at stake here. They don't just arm themselves to hunt or to target shoot. They know that the possibility of a tyrannical government is there, and right now it's more of a real threat than ever. And I don't know how many of them are willing to actually stand up and fight and use those against those who try to strip them of their freedoms and their protection. So we're going further and further down the path of tyranny rather than actually returning to normal. So,
what did you think about 3 of those protesters, sir, getting hauled away by law enforcement?
Well, see, there's another reason why you think I cover my face, I wouldn't be surprised if at one point, especially if the gun guys get enough momentum, that, they start to come after us, and they can make whatever charge they want against us, and we're going to have to fight it in court, whether it's legitimate or not. The amount of people that are just asleep in this nation and don't realize how asleep they are to these draconian laws enforced by Trudeau and even Doug Ford, right? He hasn't done anything to lift this. He said he's against the gun ban, but what has he done? Talk is cheap. Actions, speak louder than words. So Doug Ford, do something about it. Trudeau, back off. That's all I want to say.
And sir, one last question. Do you think there is a divide in this country? There are those in the gun community, and I've met so many of these people. They're law-abiding citizens. They're the salt of the earth. And typically they live in rural areas. And then there's the city dwellers that consider all guns to be bad. My colleague Andrew at The Rebel, he went out last week, as a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, to Yonge Dundas Square to do some streeters about the gun ban. Check out some of these comments.
Usually a 44 would carry like 44 bullets, right? 38 bullets.
No, that's the size of the round.
I'm not trying to be pejorative, but is there a great degree, perhaps specifically of urban dwellers, in terms of being ignorant about gun culture?
Absolutely, and that stems from mainstream media, right? You know, our government-funded CBC media organization, they're spewing all this misinformation, and, you know, 44 and 38 refers to the size of the bullet that the gun shoots. In Canada, we're restricted to a 5-round limit for semi-automatics, with the exception of 10 for pistols. And a standard capacity magazine is 30 rounds for an AR-15, but they've limited that to 5. All that's keeping that limit in place is a small aluminum rivet in the side of the magazine. And, you know, the more people are called criminals, like, where's the incentive to now follow the gun laws? And I don't mean, like, you know, be violent, but just like, why would you follow these laws when clearly this move has proved that the laws don't keep us safe? In fact, it's the opposite, right? You know, if we're all limited to 5 rounds, like, should someone try to come and take them with their 30-round automatic weapons, we're at a disadvantage.
Certainly when we look at the man in charge, Prime Minister Trudeau, his health and safety is being amply guarded by firearm-toting security guards and law enforcement personnel. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely, it's correct. And I mean, like, good on them for protecting him, but to think that he's the only one who deserves to be protected by firearms is hypocritical and wicked. Like, my life isn't worth any more or less than his. We're all human beings. We're all created equal. So I should have the equal opportunity to defend myself with whatever guns I want. I'm not for restrictions. Like, that's what people, like, some people are fighting to just get back to what we had before. I think what we had before was tyrannical with the registration of handguns and AR-15s, the mag capacity limits. All of that is just to weaken the people. Because if you have people who are abiding by that, they're allowing themselves slowly to become more and more defenseless and more weak. And now that we're at this point, during this pandemic, which you made a good point, he's absolutely using this and the tragedy in Nova Scotia to run this through, to get support, because people are being, fear-mongering is being used to get the people on the side of, you know, for safety. Meanwhile, I didn't commit a crime. I didn't shoot anybody. I'll never shoot anyone who's innocent. Someone who's evil and come in and try to take away my rights, whether it's to forcefully inject me with a vaccine, whether it's to take away me or any of my family members, you're going to face resistance, and real resistance.
Folks, are you tired of Justin Trudeau's virtue signaling when it comes to guns? Then put your name on our petition. Go to handsoffourguns.ca, that's handsoffourguns.ca, and let your voice be heard.